Hello again, and welcome to 31 Nights of Horror. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about 1986's Deadly Friend, directed by Wes Craven.
Deadly Friend. She can't live without you.
Paul Conway isn't just your average whiz kid. He's got a homemade robot named BB as his best buddy. Life looks good until two things happen. The cranky neighbor blows BB away with a shotgun, and Paul's crush, Samantha, played by Kristy Swanson, is killed by her abusive dad. Devastated, Paul hatches the ultimate mad science plan to sneak into the hospital, grab Sam's body, and bring her back to life with BB's microchip brain. It works, kind of. Sam wakes up, but she's half human, half robot, and a whole lot of deadly. Friend. Soon she's snapping necks, crushing skulls, and famously turning her neighbor's head into a basketball explosion. A scene so over the top it outshines the rest of the movie. But as her rampage spirals, even Paul can't control what he's created. The tragic love story turns a full-blown nightmare, leading to one of the wildest, most bonkers endings of an 80s horror flick. This is part teen romance, part sci-fi horror. This is part teen romance, part sci-fi horror, and part killer robot basketball slam dunk. And Deadly Friend was pure Wes Craven mayhem, and a must for any Halloween night. I feel like this part is a constant replay in all these reviews, is that I saw this when I was a kid. I rented this just by the cover alone of Kristy Swanson with her little hands like this, like a robot, or at least, at the time, I don't think it was registering to me that she was a robot. And the reason her hands were like that, like three hands like this, was because the robot had claws. The initial robot had claws. BB had claws. And that's why her joints were doing that, I guess. But Kristy Swanson plays this character, like, I don't know, like it's extremely awkward. And I imagine that's the whole robot angle to this film, because she's obviously dead and she's a robot. She's a deadly friend who's a robot, and her eyes are always just wide open. They never close, and I don't know, there's parts where she kind of shows emotion, but even though she's not technically supposed to, I think the robot itself was starting to become somewhat sentient in a way, and that's kind of like where there's a point in the movie where the Kristy Swanson's character Samantha finally breaks through the robot chip and can talk or say Paul's name, and of course they kind of just take her out that way. But all that, rewatching this film, all of that was forgotten entirely. All those other elements of this Wes Craven film were forgotten. The only one part that I remember, and it stayed vividly in my head. And at some point, I wasn't even sure, because I hadn't seen it for so long, that it had actually happened. And that was the mother from the Goonies, the head Fratelli lady, plays the neighbor, and then Kristy Swanson's character has a basketball, throws it at her, and then her head explodes. And then you have a really fake looking torso, kind of like it's on a stick, and someone's just jangling it up and down, and it can barely stand, and it's just full of blood, and then it finally collapses. That part is silly. It's the silliest part of the whole movie. The explosion is kind of gives it that wow, over the top factor. And then of course the silliness comes immediately when you see the headless torso kind of just dangling around. And it looks like literally someone just kind of doing this kind of thing with a stick or something. But Deadly Friend is a fun movie. It has a lot of little elements in there that you can tell are very Wes Craven, that are not Nightmare on Elm Street. Of course, obviously Wes Craven directed many other films, but this one seems to have been forgotten, and I think it's worth the watch if you're a Wes Craven fan. And I think it's worth to watch just to see some of that one scene alone. Man, you can watch that scene on YouTube, but the lead up to that is kind of helps with the anticipation of that particular scene. Where we got to that point, because frankly, the old lady was kind of just the way she is in the Goonies, a real nasty witch of a lady. She's that way in this film as well. And she plays that well. You know, I think that's pretty much the only character she really played. But in this moment, she gets her end in a very, very ridiculous way. But yeah, I again, streaming, definitely check it out. Deadly Friend 1986, directed by Wes Craven. Stay tuned for more horror reviews on our 31 Nights of Horror here at CineQuest Video. Appreciate you watching. Thank you.